For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that a lot of you have had the chance to check out Thunderbolts. It has been, well, it had its opening weekend, and it seems like for Marvel there is plenty of time to now just flat out say what was in the original draft of the movie, just completely ruin what the asterisk was standing for, and really, it's a lot of information. I was just going to talk about Marvel spoiling it, but there was just way too much information revealed about the original drafts of this movie, and I was like, you know what? Let's just condense it into one video. We're gonna have two videos in a row, and they're gonna be Thunderbolts. Ain't that freaking hilarious? It's not really. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why you listen to me. Let's just get the most obvious one out of the way, and that is that they just flat out spoiled the asterisks for Thunderbolts. Now, of course, I have no life, and I got to watch Thunderbolts the opening weekend. So, of course, I thank God I did not get that title spoiled for me because I was so excited to know what the actual title for Thunderbolts was going to be. And I honestly thought it was going to be Dark Avengers, even though they're not really Dark Avengers, so it wouldn't have made sense. I am happy that it's New Avengers. And Marvel wasted no time. Literally Monday, I believe it was, the cast did a little video where they just flat out ripped off the Thunderbolts of a poster, and bam, it's the New Avengers now. Now, why would Marvel do this? I was genuinely trying to think of all the reasons why they would do this, until the obvious answer came to my mind, and that is money. Yes, of course, they made their opening weekend, all the people who were excited for this movie, which I cannot believe I was one of them. I've made it pretty clear that I did not care for this movie when it was originally announced and stuff, because I didn't care about any of the characters. I hadn't seen Black Widow at the time, so I didn't know half the cast, and just frankly, it was a bunch of nobodies. But then I ended up being super excited for it, and you know, that's a niche audience. That's mainly Marvel fans. To general audiences, they find the words, there's a new Avengers movie out now, more appealing than there's a Thunderbolts movie out now. So that is exactly what Marvel has done, and it was incredibly obvious, and I don't know how I didn't think about it initially. But yeah, it started with a billboard. I actually forgot where this billboard was. But yeah, as you can see, this billboard for Thunderbolts did start to now reveal the actual title of the movie. And of course, you can see the new A. You know that even if you haven't seen the movie, you obviously know it's going to be the new Avengers. And then movie theaters started doing it with their like standees and stuff. They changed it to the new Avengers. I don't know why they did this. Well, I need to say I need to stop saying I don't know why. I know why, but still, it's rather unbelievable that Marvel just went, yeah. All the people who were excited to see the title, if you didn't watch it opening weekend, then too bad, because now we are marketing it as the new Avengers. So what does this mean for the movie itself? Well, ever since I started doing this, I believe the box office jump from Monday to Tuesday was like the biggest box office jump from a Monday to Tuesday ever for a Marvel movie. I don't really know why that's important, but that is a fact that was released. But yeah. Now, from what I understand, this isn't the first time this has happened, actually, because even though I didn't watch it that long ago, it was probably like 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, when I watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, at the end of the show, they had the logo, but then the word Falcon changed to Captain America, even though everyone still calls it Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So now, what does this mean for Thunderbolts? Now, from what has been revealed, I think it was IGN or whatever it was, some reliable source, Marvel has said that they will not be changing the title, like the theaters won't be changing the title, so it will still be Thunderbolts. But the question is, when it comes to digital release, will it be released as Thunderbolts or will it be released as the new Avengers? Because I don't know. I still feel like it should be Thunderbolts because the new Avengers is a thing that kind of comes into play at the end of the movie. And I just don't think that releasing it under the name The New Avengers would be very smart. And I really just don't understand. I know, of course, it'll make them money marketing it as an Avengers film, but come on, man. Really? But yeah, that is like an incident and a half that people are losing their minds that Marvel actually revealed the what the asterisks indicated with the title in Thunderbolts. But yeah, please just let me know your thoughts on this situation. Do you think that Marvel is being a bit money hungry? Do you think they're a bit desperate? But let's move on to some original plans for Thunderbolts. One of which involves Red Hulk. Yes, a character who really, as soon as you say Thunderbolts, you just think of him. I mean, his nickname is literally Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. And Red Hulk, of course, at the end of Captain America: Brave New World, was sent to the Raft, where he sort of just rots in that jail, which I don't know. I feel like Red Hulk could break out of, but this is actually rather interesting because, as obvious as a character as it seems to be involved with the Thunderbolts, Red Hulk was not even considered to be a part of this movie. And that's honestly just mind blowing, considering, like it's so obvious. It's so obvious. You hear Thunderbolts and like, yeah, obviously it's gonna be, Red Hulk will be involved somehow. No, they didn't even consider him. So that to me is just probably the most shocking out of all of these bits of news that was revealed. So yeah, that I thought was rather strange that they wouldn't even acknowledge him. But now let's talk about something involving characters in the actual movie, and then we'll get on to something else which was involving a certain character who was not in this film. So, Taskmaster. Of course, if you have seen the movie, you know, of course, that Taskmaster gets one line of dialogue and gets shot in the head immediately. she she shows up, gets maybe a minute of screen time, and then Ghost shoots her in the head. Which was unbelievable. But there were two sort of like ideas that were thrown out there that have been revealed by the writers or whoever it was. This is all from Discussing Film or Hollywood Handle, by the way, so take it with a huge grain of salt. So one thing that Taskmaster was, going to have, or one draft, was basically her and Ghost having like a sibling relationship where Ghost would essentially be like her big sister, which is kind of ironic considering that the Ghost is the one that kills her in the movie. So I don't know. I feel like that would have been rather strange, but at the same time, it would have sort of built up Ghost as a character because she's the one that gets the least development of the main Thunderbolts. But at the same time, I feel like if they were going to do that, it should have been with Yelena. So I'm quite happy that this did not happen because if Taskmaster is gonna have a sibling relationship with any of the characters, it should be Yelena. So that was one plan for her. And then the other plan for her, which I think would have been absolutely fantastic, is that, of course, in the movie, the Thunderbolts fight each other because they are all sent to kill each other, and they become a team. They become, quote unquote, friends. In this draft of the script, Taskmaster was gonna keep struggling with memory loss, and even after they became friends, she would keep trying to kill John Walker. And I'm sorry, but to me, that would have been the funniest thing in the world. Is just having Taskmaster, probably the most random times, just try and kill John. That would have been freaking hilarious. Plus, I mean, at least it would have made Taskmaster interesting because they have completely fumbled this character in the MCU. I hope that at some point they go, oh no, yeah, that wasn't the real Taskmaster. This is the real Taskmaster. But before we get on to the last bit of, unreleased things involving a character from the movie, let's move on to something which was revealed with the post-credit scenes. And that is that one was going to, this is obviously very old, one was going to involve Kang, which I don't actually think I need to say anything about that. One was going to involve Kang, But the more important one, baby, the more important one is that one was going to involve Zemo. I have said it countless times that Zemo is like a top 5 MCU villain. He is one of the best characters of the MCU. He's also one of the only MCU villains who, their plan actually worked, like worked properly. And, of course, he wanted them to kill each other, but they still, broke apart. So he shattered the Avengers team, really, like permanently. But yeah, he is also a character who people are like, come on, how is he not in this movie? Because really, Zemo is not. Well, okay, I wouldn't say he's not a bad guy. He did kill King T'Chaka just to frame Bucky, but still, he's not an evil person. He's like the Thunderbolts, just morally complex. But yeah, I definitely feel like Zemo and Abomination should have been in this movie. We've heard nothing as far as Abomination goes, as far as old scripts and stuff. But Zemo was going to be in the post-credit scene. Probably a mid-credit scene, I assume, because as even though that would be cooler to me than a Kang connection, I feel like they would have saved the Kang thing for last because that's like the bigger connection to the MCU, much like how they did in this movie, where they had the joke one be the mid-credit scene and the important one be the end-credit scene. So yeah, I think that Zemo should have been in this movie. I think that he would have been fantastic, but at the same time, if he was part of the team, what was he going to do? He wouldn't have fit in. So yeah, as much as I would have loved to have had Zemo, I think that the way they did it in the original draft probably would have been best, for him to be in a post-credit scene. But we don't know the context. We don't know what he was meant to do in the post-credit scene, and yeah, I'm probably gonna stop talking about Zemo now because otherwise I will keep on going for hours because I love that man. And moving on to the final bit of cut storylines, this one is probably the biggest one, and that is who the main villain of the movie was originally meant to be. John freaking Walker. I kid you not, John Walker was the original villain of Thunderbolts. And there were times in this movie, obviously John is he's a person who really has no patience. He's a very impatient and short-tempered person. And there were times like when Bob talks back to him where you can see the anger building inside of him. And honestly, I've said this, or I've said this, many people have said this, that, John is not an evil guy, much like I was just saying about Zemo. But yeah, John just wants to do the right thing. But at the same time, if he was to be a villain, I wouldn't exactly be shocked or, taken aback by it. I could 100% see him being a villain. But unfortunately, they specified what was going to happen. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that this was absolute garbage. Like, it was just terrible as far as the storyline for him goes. So basically, yes, he was going to be the villain, and he was still going to be working for Val. But the story would have been much different. Val was going to convince John Walker. I'm going to keep calling him John Walker because I just think that U.S. Agent is like the worst name in comic book history. That is so fucking stupid. So yeah, John Walker. She was going to convince him that his super soldier serum was deteriorating and he needed like monthly shots or weekly shots, But what she was actually doing was implanting a Hulk bomb, and John Walker was going to turn into a raging monster. Why? There's two very obvious reasons as to why they scrapped the storyline. First of all, being that it is dumb as hell. I don't think anyone would have been happy with this because John Walker is not the character you turn into a freaking Hulk. Now, as far as I like, some people have said raging monster, some have said Hulk. I'm not sure on what the exact quote was, but most of the ones I'm seeing just say a monster. So, still, it would not have worked. I don't know why they would have done this. It makes no sense. But yes, I know that Bruce Banner's Hulk did it because of like the fakes, or well, yeah, I guess him as well, but mainly like Abomination. With Abomination, they sort of spelt it out that it was meant to be like a super soldier serum thing. But yeah, it just no, 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 just no. So yeah, the main reason why they didn't do it is probably because it is a stupid as hell idea. And the second reason is that this would have been two movies in a row where a character would have secretly been fed medical, well, Hulk things through medicine, and then just turn into a monster at the end. Can you imagine if they did that? You would have had Captain America Brave New World with Red Hulk, and then you'd had this movie just after that with the exact same storyline. I think I would just die on the spot. That would be so, so, so dumb. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, I just need your opinions on all of this. On, the whole thing with the title, all of the stuff that was cut from the movie, well, not just cut from the movie, just like completely removed from the entire script. And please, I just need to know your thoughts on this stuff because, my God, this has to be a discussion. Just anything and everything, let me know down in the comment section below how you thought. Holy shit, it is so late right now. I think it's showing. Let me know what you thought on all of this. And if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.